Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, can you hear me? Can you see me? Please tell me in the comments if the picture is all right, if the sound is all right. Let me wait. Sharjah say everything is all right. Perfect, great. Alaikum salam. Great. So tonight, inshallah, dear brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking about an important rule in fiqh, all right, which is called means have the ruling of purposes, or I would say, alaikum salam, Ahmad. Or I would say in that case, tell me which title do you prefer? Alaikum salam, all of you. Do you prefer the title number one, means have the ruling of purposes? Which one is the clearer for you? Means have the ruling of purposes, or the means take on the same ruling as their aims? Number one or number two? Tell me. What is the best translation for you? I might say both are good. All right, so great. So both are correct. Perfect. So both of them means something for you. Great. So here we're going to explain these rules, inshallah, tonight. The means take on the same ruling as their aims. In Arabic, وسائل الأحكام وسائل الأمور كالمقاصد فاحكم لهذا الحكم للزوائد. So it means here the purposes that you, when you are worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should have a specific purpose, all right? And this purpose should be a maslaha, should be something which is, I would say, something good, all right? So you should have a good intention. So the maslaha means your interest by acting while you're doing this specific worshiping, because you have a good interest, you have a good intention, all right? But what you have to check as well is the means. Is the mean correct, all right? Because nowadays, you can find a lot of people, for example, he said, you know what, I want to build a masjid, all right? Which is a good purpose, all right? He want to build a masjid. But the problem is his money is not halal. So will he be able to reach that goal I mean, his action will be accepted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Please tell me in the comments. You have a good intention, you want to build a masjid, but the mean that you're using, your money is not halal, or the method that you're using is not a halal method. Your action will be accepted or not? Yes or no? Yeah, in this case, both of them should be halal, correct? The means should be also halal. So in this example, someone is building a masjid and his money is not halal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept his this act of worshipping. Very good, not accepted. It's like to see the money and build a mosque. This is angle piece. Great, not accepted. In that case, his action will not be accepted. Whatever he has a good intention, but the means not halal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept it. So that's why it's very important that when you want to do something with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make sure that the means that you are using are correct. The means that you're using are acceptable by our Sharia, and the means that you're using are halal. All right, because here we go back to that specific rule we're talking about. All right, which is this rule. Remember the rule. The means take on the same ruling the means take on the same ruling as their aims. All right, this is very, very important. Great. And I'm going to give you a good example that we have in the south of France. I don't know if you have this in UK. People harvesting grapes. All right, when it's the time of grapes, I think like the end of September, people are harvesting the grapes. All right, picking up the grapes. And we have a lot of Muslims working in that field, especially in the south of France in some areas, because France is well known for wine. So you have a lot of people, they're working in that area, and they say, basically, while I'm working, I'm not doing anything. I'm just picking up grapes, and that's it. This is my job, just to pick up fruits, pick up grapes. But the problem of these grapes, at the end of it, he knows that in this specific time in south of France, when you are picking up these grapes, harvesting grapes in that specific time, it's only for wine. So is a Muslim allowed to work during that specific period? Tell me in the comments. Do you think a Muslim is allowed to work during that specific period of harvesting grapes? In this case, as some of you has written in the comments, It's not allowed for a Muslim to work during that specific period. Why? Because he knows exactly that this specific type of grapes will be used for wine. All right. And here we go back to the rule. The means take on the same ruling as their aims. So this is the main purpose of this rule. All right. And also from this rule, we can get another rule. All right. What leads to haram is haram. All right. This is another rule. You should memorize it and very important. What leads to haram is haram. Amal say, I think it's no, because the final aim is not halal. Very good, Amal. Also, we have another very important rule. If something it's obligatory for you, all right? Let's say, for example, for you, praying in the jama'ah, okay, congregation prayer, it's an obligatory for you, all right? It's an obligation for you. So to go to the masjid will be an obligation for you, all right? Because here the means to get to the masjid, all right, is to walk, all right, or to drive. So in that case, walking, driving to the masjid will be an obligation for you. Why? Because your aim, all right, your aim it will be to attend this congregation prayer. All right. So the means has the same ruling of the aims. All right. That's why it's very important to understand that. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his rahmah, even when you go back from the masjid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accountabilize all this action for you, because the way you're going to the masjid, it's an obligation for you, all right, to reach the congregation prayer. So when you're going to go back to the masjid, or you're going to go back from the masjid to your house, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the same reward, all right, because you're still under ibadah, all right. And you have also the same rule. What led to permissible is permissible. All right. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say on Friday, on Friday, to wash yourself, all right, to take a shower on Friday to go to pray Jumu'ah prayer, it's desirable, it's recommended, all right, correct? So having a shower during that day will be recommended on Friday. Having a shower on Friday is recommended, all right, because having ghusl on Friday is recommended, all right. But let's say you are in the state of janaba, all right. You had intimate relationship with your husband, all right, or of your wife, for example. So on Friday, for you, it will not be recommended to wash yourself. It will be an obligation, all right. It will be an obligation. Why? Because washing yourself from janaba, it's an obligation. So you see, here the means are different. So the aims are different. That's why it's very important to understand that, all right. So for example, if you are selling weapons, all right, you are selling weapons to people, all right, and you know that this person, if you sell him a weapon, he's going to kill a Muslim. So for you here, it will be haram, it will be forbidden for you to sell him that weapon, because you know that person is going to use that weapon to kill a Muslim. All right. So here we go back to the rule. All right. What is the means take on the same ruling as the aims. We go back to this rule. The means take on the same ruling as the aims. Because you know that person, when you're going to send him that weapon, he's going to do something bad. All right. So the aim, it will be a bad aim. All right. Because remember, we said at the beginning of it, what we said the purposes are things that involve good interest, all right, and things that involve bad interest, like evils in themselves, all right. So purposes could be good or bad, all right. Because some purposes, they could be source of evil, source of haram, all right, cause of evil, scandalous deeds, all right. Let's give an example. Uh, let's give an example of a bad purpose, of a bad intention, of a scandalous deed. For example, looking at a foreigner woman, all right. If you look at a foreigner woman the first time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives you that. But if you keep looking at her, all right, that method may lead you to zina, to adultery, all right. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't allow us to look at women who are not our wives, all right? Because you don't know what happened. You're going to look at her the first time, the second time, and after that, you're going to ask her her number, and you want to ask her to meet her, and so on, till, wal-iyadu billah, you may fornicate at the end with that woman, you know what I mean? So that's why in our religion, we said the means are not, the means have the same hukum, judgment of purposes. So that's why a lot of people, when you say, Akhi, this is not allowed, they don't understand. Say, why is haram? Everything is haram with you, Akhi. No, you're making things, everything is haram. No, our religion wants to protect us. All right. So sometimes some specific means in themselves, they are halal. All right. For example, tonight I'm using this. I'm using YouTube. I'm using Facebook. All right, to speak to you, to teach you about our Deen. All right. But let's say, for example, we're using this platform for chatting and for just dragging and, you know, I mean, taking numbers and meet up at the end of it, and a lot of mixity between men and women, and billah, some people using this social media in a bad way. So at the end, we said the social media in itself is not haram, but the way you are using it is haram. Why? Because the aim of it, as we said, all right, the means take on the same ruling as the aims, all right? So that's why it's very important, especially nowadays when we got talking about technology, about social media. A lot of people don't understand why you're making everything haram or everything is forbidden. No, just it depends the way you're going to use it, all right? So you have to be very careful about that. What if something, so here we have a question. What if something can lead to something haram, but can also lead to something good? All right. So in that case, if it leads to something haram, it will be haram. It's just the way you're going to use it. All right. It's like your phone. You know what I mean? And this phone, it depends the way you use it. All right. If you use it to call your mom, all right, this halal. If you're using your phone to call someone to bring you some alcohol to your house, all right, this phone, the means, the way you use it is in haram way, all right. So it just depends. So it just depends on the way you are using it, all right. So you say, I still don't understand the title. What is the same? What is same aim but different means? One bad and one good. What is the ruling? So Mr. M, is the same question as the question we answered before. Just depends the way you use it, brothers and sisters. Just the mean you're gonna use. You know what I mean? You have a knife. This knife, are you using it for cooking or are you using it for killing people? Just depend. It depends on that. All right. So what if the aim and ruling is halal, but the means is haram? Very good. So at the end, the aim will become haram. All right. So we gave an example. For example, you want to build a masjid. All right. The aim of it is halal to build a masjid. But the money, how are you going to get the money? Through riba? Or are you going to steal that money? Or I don't know where you're going to get that money, but in haram way. So at the end of it, we're not accepting your money. All right. Let's say, for example, you come to us and say, yeah, I have £1,000,000. I want to build a masjid. All right. If we don't ask you, we just take that money. But if you come to us and say, I've just stolen £1,000,000 from this bank. I want to give you this money. Please build a masjid. What they will do, the collectors of money, they will refuse. They say, no, we can't take that money to build a masjid. This masjid is haram. You have to give it back to his owners. Or I mean. All right. So have you understood the rule for tonight? Do you need more example? Do you have more questions? Great. It's like going for Hajj with non-halal money. Correct. If you know from the beginning of it that your money is not halal, all right, in that case, don't go to Hajj. Try to get halal money. But some scholars, they said, at the end of it, if you go to Hajj with haram money, your Hajj in itself will be accepted if you respect all the rules of Hajj, which is make the tawaf, staying in Mina, staying in Muzdalifah, having the ihram, all right? But you will have a sin. The sin you will have is because you are using haram money, all right? All right, do you have more questions about this rule, inshallah? All right, so dear brothers and sisters, thank you for your time. I thank you for your time, and inshallah next week we have a new rule, inshallah. All right, one of the most important rules that every Muslim needs, and I hope this reminder will be helpful for you. And inshallah, all the time before acting, before doing something, remember this rule is very important. All right, okay, and try to apply it in your daily life. It's very easy to memorize. All right, the means take on the same ruling are as their aims. All right, the means take on the same ruling as their aims. The aims has to be halal and the means has to be halal. All the means has to be halal, so the aim will be halal. All right, so both of them have to respect that. All right, and the rule in Arabic language is وسائل الأمور كالمقاصد فاحكم بهذا الحكم للزوائد. All right, so please. Question: is it permissible to work for a bank if that bank is not using so here, yeah, we go back to this rule. All right, the means, all right, the bank, if the means that the bank is using is haram, you should not work for the bank. All right, because you will be another big rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. So don't help each other on bad things. All right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, cooperate on righteousness and piety. All right, and do not cooperate in sin and aggression. All right, وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ, and do not cooperate in haram. So working in a bank, if you are working in a bank which is using riba and all of that, it's haram, so don't cooperate. Yeah, if the bank is using Islamic rules or not, correct. All right, any more questions, inshallah, before closing the live? No more questions? All right, brothers and sisters, thanks for your time. Inshallah, we see you next week for another rule, and stay in touch. Barakallahu feekum, hayakum Allah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.